Welcome to this Fundamentals video on workflows. PhixFlow workflows model the steps of a business process from end to end, showing the actual components of your application that perform each activity. They visually depict a detailed sequence of activities and information flows needed to complete your business process. Workflows are made up of nodes, which represent items that either exist in your application or are placeholders for future items. Placeholders allow you to create workflows without having all of the items available at the time of creation, and they act as a design document for anyone creating your application to follow. The nodes are representations of the items they are linked to or will be linked to in the future. Therefore, they can be given different names to the actual items. For example, we may have a screen called Companies List, but in the workflow we call the node View Companies List. This gives workflow designers greater flexibility and clarity when creating a workflow, as the names can be more process-centric. Let's see how this works in practice. In this video, we will create a simple customer approval workflow, which is illustrated here. We create a workflow as follows. Choose Add New and then enter a name. Let's start by adding a new analysis node. We'll simply click and drag the item from the toolbar onto the canvas. Now we'll name this swim lane Web to indicate our data is coming from a web server or some kind of a web process. Right click and select Edit. Set the name and save your changes. Now we will add a second swim lane to represent the sub-process of our sales team. Right-click on the existing swim lane and select Add Lane After. We'll call this Sales. Now we can add in a screen node for a screen that already exists. Click Screen on the toolbar and drag the screen from the repository onto the canvas. Its properties open automatically, and you can see here that the node name and the screen name are currently the same. We can change the node name to be more representative of our business process. So I'll just change this to View Companies List. And this is the case for all nodes, where the node can have a process name that may be different from the actual screen name. Let's connect our nodes. Hover over one of the nodes to get the connection point. Click it and then click on the node you wish to connect to. So, while screens represent the user touchpoints in a business process, action flows represent the action a user has taken. Now let's add in an action flow. When we add an action flow, we have the option to create a new one, and we'll set this up in a moment. I will connect this to our existing screen, and I'll also create a new second screen for editing a company and connect that to the action flow as well. We can double click on the second screen to start the screen creation wizard. If you'd like to learn more about creating screens, see the Screen Fundamentals video. Back on the workflow, PhixFlow has associated this action flow to the first screen, and it knows that it will open up the second screen. To see this action, open up the first screen by double-clicking the node, and you'll see on the Actions tab that we have an unconnected action. This can now be dragged onto the screen to create a new button or added to an existing button. Back in the workflow, the action flow has a red blink. This indicates that it's not yet set up. Double click on it to open it up and select the connection of OnClick. We can see that the target screen is already here. To find out more about wiring action flows, see the Actionflow Fundamentals video. Now we can add an embedded workflow. This represents another workflow that is started from this one. It allows us to break down our business processes into discrete workflows. Here I'll provide a name and save my changes. Now I just need a method of initiating this workflow, So I'm just going to add in an extra action flow here. And for completeness, I'll also add in a save action flow. For anyone that's designing this application for me, they'll then know that I want a save option as well. And I'll connect these up to the screen and the workflow. Finally, let's look at some external tasks. Here I'm going to drag in an email sender, and this just indicates to our designers that the submit action will actually send an email out to an account manager. It's possible all throughout the workflow to add descriptions to each of the nodes, and this just allows people to understand what it is that each process is doing. Descriptions are then displayed when a user hovers over the node. We can also select the connectors and add a label to those, and that way we can indicate the decisions or the actions that a user has taken. That brings us to the end of this video on workflows. To find out more information, such as full details on each node in a workflow or more example content, search workflows in the help.